Welcome to our Cork Unitarian Church Sunday service. And today's Sunday thoughts will be about New Year's opportunities. In our cultural symbolism of New Year's, we often see the year that is just passed being represented as the character often called Father Time, appearing as an old man, balding, long white beard, and dressed in a white or gray robe, carrying an hourglass in one hand and holding a scythe in the other. Kind of like a Grim Reaper, but not quite so scary. Accompanying Father Time is another character, the New Year's baby. This character appears as a baby dressed in a diaper, often wearing a sash emblazoned with the upcoming year, and sometimes even wearing a top hat as an indication of celebration. The symbolism of that pair of characters is quite simple. In our culture, we like to think of the new year as a special time to start fresh. Well, literally, the new year closely accompanies the winter solstice, so at least in the northern hemisphere, there is something naturally literal about that. And in our culture, many businesses have fiscal years that align with the calendar year. So they literally restart their accounting on the new year. And since we are in a part of the world that uses the Gregorian calendar, it is also a time when we take down the old calendar and put up a new one. So it is literal in that sense also. I suspect that we all should realize that in reality, we can look to make a fresh start at any time. But at New Year, we can do this in the company of many other people and with all of the accompanying force of our cultural symbolism. In reality, though, New Year is not so much a fresh start as in starting over, as it is a renewed start. It is not usually the case that in the new year, it will be as if the prior year didn't happen at all. We still have to deal with the consequences of the prior year. For example, companies may restart their bookkeeping, but they will have to carry over any loss or debits from the prior year. But we can't have a renewed start while embracing the hope that the upcoming year we can do better. We see this idea in religions also. Some religions have the idea of reincarnation, where after a person dies, they get to start over. But in those belief systems, it's usual that it's a renewed start rather than a fresh start, because the reborn people have their own past karma to deal with in their new lives. We see this tension between a fresh start and a renewed start occurring in Christianity as well. In the gospel attributed to John, there is a story in the third chapter about Jesus having a conversation with Nicodemus. Jesus tells Nicodemus that he must be born again. Nicodemus protests. How can somebody be born when they are old? Surely they cannot enter a second time into their mother's womb and be born. Jesus then goes on to explain that they are to be reborn of the water and the Spirit. The passage has an odd read to it in English translations. And the passage would have also been odd if it were actually spoken in Aramaic by Jesus and Nicodemus. However, to the Greek-speaking author of John's Gospel, there is a clever and even humorous double entendre that occurs only when the story is told in Greek. You see, the Greek word translated as again actually has two different meanings. It can not only mean a second time, as we would sort of imply if we were to say a fresh start, but it can also mean from above, more like our renewed start. So in John's gospel story, Jesus is using one meaning of the word, and silly Nicodemus understands it as the alternative meaning that really makes no sense to him. This confusion over the double meaning gets resolved by Jesus' punchline that it is not a do-over, but a renewed start as we are reborn from above. So here is my New Year's wish, prayer, blessing to you, that you may have a renewed start in those parts of your life where you feel you need it most. And may your again be from the Spirit, be from above, be from God, be from good, wherever you need to have it come from. Amen. And for any of you who are local to Cork City, we will be holding our first in-person Sunday fellowship meeting since the fire. It will be held on Sunday, the 26th of January at 11 a.m. in the Civic Trust House on Pope's Quay in Cork City. Look for more details on our Facebook page. Peace and blessings, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2025.